Okay. So these are the main data types. There are other data types that we're going to talk about, the sequence types. We're going to talk about them. But that's a good time to start coding a little bit with the conditional blocks. If everything's clear, we can move on to the next slide deck. Are there any questions? Okay. So that's that regarding the types. Now for the conditional structures. How do we create conditional blocks or conditional structures in Python? The infamous if statement is there. It's just that syntax is just slightly different from what you learned about it in Java. Okay, so it still have the if keyword, right? And you need to put the statements that will condition be executed in here underneath it, and the expression that is following the if keyword is the condition. Okay, so it should, whatever you use here should result in true or false or something that can be converted to true or false. Now, it's like, I mean, the header of the if statement should end with a column. Now, you can put the statement that is the condition statement in a new line or in the same line. And over time, you would need to have multiple statements. The conditional statements are just not one statement, it can be a block. You can still put them in one line as you can separate the most part. Okay? But if you don't want to put them in one line, you have to make sure that you use the proper indentation. Okay? Now the semicolon, we talked about the semicolon a little bit. It's not mandatory. It's only mandatory if you want to combine multiple statements in the same line. It's not the same as in Java. It doesn't indicate the end of the line like in Java, right? What indicates the end of the line in Python is the new line, is the enter. Okay, so once you press enter, that indicates the end of the line. Now there is a very important difference than what we are used to in Java, is that empty spaces in Python are very important. Now in Java and similar languages, empty spaces don't have any meaning. Okay, so the indentation or the organization of the lines doesn't have any meaning. Right? In Python it does. Okay, so indentation indicates that this statement is underneath the if state. Okay? If you don't have the indentation, you put the statement in this one or use it. Okay? Now if we want to have multiple lines, like in Java and similar languages, you can have multiple lines underneath the if statement. So as long as they are surrounded by curly brackets, right? Now here in the curly brackets, you just have to use consistent indentation. So the consistent indentation represents that these statements belong to the same block. Now it can be very tricky. Okay. Now if it's only one statement under the if and you forget about the indentation, it's not a problem because it's gonna give you an error, and an error is a good thing because at least it tells you what's wrong. But if you make this mistake, you meant for this statement to be part of the conditional block, but you forgot the indentation, you're not gonna get any error. And it would look like it's working fine with this value. So if the grade is 80, it looks like it's working fine. Right? So there is a subtle problem here that you wouldn't discover unless you do proper testing. So if you program with different values, then you will discover it. Okay? So there are different ways you can put them all on line. If you want, just get it by semicolon, that's fine. If you put them in multiple lines with the proper indentation, that's okay. Now, if you don't pay attention to the indentation, it might be problematic. And then we can have multiple branches, so it's not just a one conditional block. We can have a branching out with the other conditions. Okay, so we can have multiple branches like this. So in Java, the new f, so we have an else and then f, so the new f is actually a new statement, it's a substatement from the else block. Okay, it's a slightly different here. So if you want to have branching other than the else, you use the keyword ella. Okay, and then like you have to be careful with the indentation as we have mentioned. All right, now let's have some hands-on to see how does that work, and hopefully if we have time, we can see some debugging features. So are you able to create like the directory and the file, everything is fine? So I can use this this directory you opened last time. I'm gonna use it. Okay, and I'm gonna use the same file too. So let's see that. So I'm gonna try so we have a grade, let's say grade equals 80. All right, now I'm gonna use if statement. Now the parentheses around the condition are optional here. They are mandatory in Java, but they are optional in Python. Okay, so now if grade is greater than or equal to 80, now we see I am coming from Java background, and in Java, yeah, I'm used to write parentheses, but I'm not used to put the column at the end. Okay, so it is possible that you do something like this, forget about it. Now, if you remember the column, then the editor will help you out and create the indentation for you. Right? Yes. So using hash. So if you want a one line comment, it's just a hash like this. Okay. All right, but let's say just for the sake of the exercise, I forgot to have the column, and then I wanted the print. So let's say if it's 80, then it should be excellent. But that's not, there are different systems that present the highest range of grades. So I want to have the letter system as well. So I want to print A as well. All right. And then I realized that there's an error here. So I go back and fix it. All right, so I go back to the error. There's you see this red line there? Okay, so I know there's an error here. I noticed it. Now let me fix it. Okay, there's another error here. So I'll fix it. Oh, okay, I realized that I forgot the indentation. Okay, so I fix it here. And there are no errors, so it seems like I'm good. I fixed all the problems. Yes. No, it's not fine. You have to have indentation. If this line is not part of the conditional block, then there is no problem. It is outside. Because you need to at least have one statement under the if statement. Okay, I mean one line at least in the block. Yeah. All right, so the minimum one line is there, so it doesn't it doesn't seem like it's a problem anymore. So even when we run it, It doesn't look like a problem when you print it. Now, what I'm trying to emphasize here, that it prints like it's 80, so it should be excellent and the A, right? And that's what we expect, and that's what we get. Even though there's a problem in the code, there's a logical problem in the code. Now, what I'm trying to emphasize here is that when you are testing your code, you need to test it with different values in order to test different branches to make sure that all the branches work fine. Okay, so sometimes you test it, it seems to be working and you're very confident about it, but there might be problems that were not revealed because you didn't do enough testing. Okay, now, okay, if I want to do enough testing, let's me try to do something that is not 80 and not in the range that is checked here. So if I try that, now I can see it prints an A, which is not supposed to happen because this A should be part of the condition that was not met. Okay, so some errors are easy to find because there are error messages, but logical errors that doesn't trigger error messages are harder to find, and that's why you need to be more diligent in your testing. Okay, so now after I did proper testing, now I recognize the problem and I can fix it. Okay. Now I'm just gonna add some other branches here just to have, so let's say if I wanted to say else, just the two branches, okay? So I'll just, in the else branch, I will type unknown or not applicable, okay? But in that case, we would have two branches here, one branch, and then if it's not true, then we execute the second branch, right? Now, what if we want to have multiple branches with conditions? So we can use the elif, which is short for else if, and it also it needs a condition. So if grade is less than 80, and so I want to combine two conditions here, grade is greater than or equal to, I don't know, 70. So in that case, now we see it is very easy for me to have the mistake here, right? All right, so if I say fail, now if I didn't pay attention that the indentation didn't happen here, it would be problematic. All right,